Well, hello, everybody. It is your best friend, Justin, from J Master Productions, and thank you very much for tuning in with me today as you join me on this lovely Thursday morning here. We are going to be talking about marijuana. Now, currently in the algorithm on X, if you don't follow me on X, my social media links will all be below, or my username rather, so feel free to follow me on any network you have. On X, there's a ton of marijuana stuff, debate, a lot of it being propaganda, a lot of it talking shit about marijuana, a lot of it supporting marijuana, a lot of it saying it's bad. And in this video today, I wanted to talk about it all. I wanted to give you my take on marijuana. Want to go over maybe some tweets on X here that we'll just scroll down and I'll kind of show you guys what I mean when I say that these there's a lot of stuff on X. If you do have X, if you're in the same niche as me, there's certain things that pop up on your feed, and even the other truthers, right? Because this is a truth channel where we talk about the truth of stuff going on in this world. We're trying to wake people up here. We're trying to light a fire under people's ass to make them seek out more research about what I'm talking about, and then on top of that, so that they can learn it and understand it enough to go out and talk about it with people, and then make their own content so that we can become the true media. But anyway, besides all that, what I think about marijuana is it's actually, it's smoking anything, of course, isn't necessarily good for your lungs. But when it comes to marijuana, I've used marijuana plenty of times throughout my life. I still do to this day. There's been times where I've taken breaks from it, and I'm just the kind of person that marijuana has never really affected negatively. Now, I do live in New Jersey. It is legal. There was a point where it was illegal, which has gotten me in trouble with Man's Law here some years ago. But besides that, in terms of my psychological health, I would say it's actually helped me more than anything. And the reason I say that is because it's helped me. I started when I was in high school, right? I was like 16 when I first tried it. And it really helps you see through stuff, see through bullshit, see through the fake act. Um, I was immature. I didn't know truth back then, but it kind of just made me see through, the whole, or it kind of opened my mind to, well, maybe there's more to life than what's being told to us, even in high school, such as, oh, being popular or hanging out with certain people or the girls that you get, or, it's just that when you're in high school, there's a lot of judgments that go on, a lot of cliques, especially in the time I was growing up, because I graduated high school in 2015, so not too long ago. I mean, it was like 11 years ago. I can't believe it, but I did grow up kind of in this digital age where smartphones, by the time I was in high school, smartphones were normal and social media use was normalized, right? So you kind of see through all the bullshit on how people post things to make their parties that they're at look better, that they have friends, just to show off to other people, right? So I started to see through that bullshit in high school. But when it came to truth, man, I mean, this really helps open up my eyes more. Now, there's always the negative side to marijuana, which is the biggest thing I hear is, oh, well, I feel paranoid. A lot of people say doesn't make me feel good, or I spaz out, or I bug out. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say I know all the answers for sure. I'm going to give you what I think. So this is more of an opinion. And you guys can, of course, let me know what you guys think. I think when people get paranoid, or they have bad thoughts, or they think about negative things, or they don't like how they are, because I've heard people even say that when they get high, they tend to not like themselves. But when they're sober, it's, they don't have those bad thoughts, yada, yada, yada. I think it's just because people aren't dealing with certain things psychologically and in their lives, so it surfaces when they get high, because marijuana does make you think a lot, which is something I like about it. I mean, it can be uncomfortable, the thoughts that pop up sometimes, but I'm just at a point in my life where I know truth. I am trying my best to spread the message of truth. I'm trying to live my life in the name of truth as best as I can, because it's really hard. You have to unlearn everything. You got to completely get out of the system. You look very strange and weird and crazy to people, even though at this point a lot of us conspiracy theorists, so-called, whatever, we're getting propped nowadays. But as I speak about in my content a lot, there's all these conspiracy sub rabbit holes, these the new alt media, which is like these political right wingers, it seems more so, and they become the new alt media. It's not the people actually, an average person like myself who really has no following is never going to get big or get into the algorithm because of the mere fact that I'm actually spreading a good message, and I'm not paid to do any of this. I don't have people in my pockets. I don't have people controlling what I say. I'm just what I'm doing is genuine, and what a lot of these other people do who may get a lot of clout is not very genuine, because either they're useful idiots and they're trying to make money off people through the donations or the merch or whatever, or just garner views, or they're paid propagandists to actually propagate false information to people to mislead them, because there's been a great awakening. Now, this great awakening that has occurred is false, of course, but I don't want to get too off into the weeds in that. I speak about that plenty in my content. But I think the problem that people face when they smoke weed is they realize things, because marijuana, it opens up your creativity. It kind of helps you just see more things for what they are, and it can freak people out. And I think that's why people don't like it. And there's all this talk on X, of course, how it makes you schizophrenic. There was this one thing going around for a little while. It was like a few months ago. It kind of stopped, though. It was something called scromiting, and it is something linked to marijuana where you have uncontrollable vomiting and you got to seek immediate emergency attention. It was some bullshit like that. Let's put it that way. Now, the powers that be, interestingly enough, and based on my research on them, and the people I listen to, a lot of them say that the powers that be actually hate cannabis. And the reason they hate cannabis and people using it is because it helps you see through bullshit. That's why when you're a cop, or if you're even a part of the dark occult, the biggest thing that they look down upon in the military also is marijuana, because it's going to make people realize what they're doing is wrong. And marijuana has so much stigmas around it. It's endless stigmas on if it's good, is it bad. Obviously, this doesn't need to be debated. It has a ton of medical benefits to it. It's more safe than marijuana. We know that. It's more safe than cigarettes, of course. But people will say that it gives you psychological issues. It makes you unmotivated. It makes you lazy. It makes you a loser. Now, listen, for some people, that might be true. I've seen that happen to people where, for some reason, when they smoke marijuana, they become a couch potato, they become a loser, they become lazy, they become antisocial and all that. I've seen it, but it's pretty rare for the most part in what I see in most marijuana users. I don't know really anyone that smoked marijuana and acts crazy. I haven't really seen that much, as opposed to drinking or other drugs, of course. Now, it depends on the person, too. Like, if you're a mentally healthy person, marijuana isn't going to affect you negatively, or it shouldn't. If you're a mentally balanced person, if you're mentally healthy, right, if you have a meaningful life with purpose in it, and you exercise daily and you eat somewhat healthy, I mean, you're not going to react badly to a stimulus like marijuana. And like I was saying, you have to be comfortable with yourself. You have to be grounded in your beliefs. You have to know who you are. You have to know what's going on in the world, right? And this takes a ton of research and looking into, what exactly is taking place, which is why I make content. But nonetheless, so you guys might be getting tired of that marijuana background there. So we're going to get into some tweets here. Now, I use marijuana right now currently on a daily basis. There's always points throughout the year where I might use it daily and then take a break for a little while and then go back to it. And that's because I'm someone who can handle it. Now, I've made a video kind of touching on the subject of drinking and myself personally, where I don't mix well with drinking. I actually don't do well when it comes to drinking at all. I tend to, 1 will turn into 10. I black out usually. I do stupid things. I have to apologize. I don't remember what happened, and it gets me in trouble, long story short. So I'll definitely make a whole separate video on that one day. It's more of a personal take, of course, but nonetheless, what sparked me to make this whole video, I've been meaning, this is always a topic I've been meaning to discuss. I've just always felt that there's way more important things to be discussing than this. Yeah, there's the truthers that I have on X, which is where I really see the most people as opposed to any other platform, really. These people are alleging that, there's the propaganda on marijuana showing up again. And it's because, like I said, the powers that be, this is a drug that I've heard that they look down upon the most. Like, if you're part, I believe, of the dark occult, they don't want you smoking marijuana because it makes you think. It makes you see through things. It makes you look at things from a different perspective that you might not be able to see when you're sober. It makes you look at things deeper, and this is what tends to freak people out and bug them out, which is why they say they get paranoid or they don't like to smoke, is because, again, it's all these things that they're not dealing with and all this truth surfacing that's coming up, and they don't like it, and it makes them uncomfortable, which is why people, would prefer to drink typically, right? We see that typically more, that people like drinking. Maybe things are shifting now because I know they're, ever since the legalization of marijuana, it's become a lot more prevalent. Now, the thing about the marijuana in the dispensaries, and I don't really have much to confirm this, but just knowing what I know about the government and all that, I'm sure the marijuana in these dispensaries aren't exactly the most clean, aren't the most healthy thing to be putting inside of us, for the mere fact that it's like cigarettes. I mean, think about it back then when that first became a thing, what was that, like 100 years ago or so? And just, growing tobacco, if you naturally grow tobacco, it's not going to give you lung cancer, or it's not going to do that. The reason why it does is because of the chemicals that the powers that be, who of course they have a monopoly on the tobacco industry, just like they do with everything else. They spray things no different than in your food, and the way they poison your water and the chemtrails, and they poison our air, right? It's no different with the tobacco, right? And that's why people get cancer and all that stuff. Well, I think the same thing is happening with marijuana. How the dispensaries, and maybe when it first started, it wasn't that bad, but they've been around for a little while now. They've been around for a couple years here in Jersey, so I believe that whatever they're the same chemicals that they put in the tobacco, it's probably gonna go into the marijuana, and I'm sure in the long term they're gonna say, oh, marijuana causes lung cancer and all these things, the same way with tobacco, and they're going to say that the health risks are the same because you smoke it, or even, I know there's other ways, like you could do the oil, or you could eat it, right? There's edibles, you could drink it even, but who knows? I feel like now we're at a time where you can smoke marijuana, but I wouldn't be surprised if they made marijuana illegal again. So what's funny on here on X is when you type in marijuana, my video comes up from over a year ago. Funny enough, it's my birthday from last year, January 30th, 2025. And this happens to also be my most viewed on YouTube, this video that I did on Nick Fuentes. It's only like a 6-minute video, and it was a reaction video I did to Nick Fuentes talking about marijuana. So you guys, I'll actually link that below, or if you maybe you just go to my channel, it'll probably pop up. Because I don't have a certain amount of subs, I can't actually hyperlink things, which is very annoying. But funny enough, this is what comes up when I typed in marijuana. I don't know if it's because this is my account or what, but it comes up, and it only has 104 views. But, and then funny enough, another post of mine comes up from also over a year ago, January of last year. Teens and young adults these days are afraid to take risks. Instead of alcohol and marijuana, they prefer prescription medication from Big Pharma. And it was in a response to a post about Gen Z and the debating fun with alcohol and all that. So yeah, it's it's interesting how these things actually, let me get myself a little out of there so you guys can see that. Yeah, it's interesting how these things they popped up when I wrote that. But yeah, so I'm 29, right? In my generation, alcohol and marijuana use overall is at an all-time low. But nonetheless, people are still engaging in these activities. But I spoke about how a lot of the younger generation, and this is a lot of content I made last year, how in my generation we're not going out as much, we don't socialize as much, and that's probably why you see a big fade with alcohol and marijuana as well. But what a lot of them are on, especially at very young ages, in their teen years, is antidepressants and all that stuff, big pharma medication, which, if you ask me, marijuana should be something that maybe could possibly help them and should be in question. And let's be real too, because of the benefits of marijuana, if the powers that be let all this information come out about how it's great, which is why they still got to keep propaganda out there about why it's bad, quote unquote, is so that people won't do it, so that people just won't engage in it, right? So it scares them into doing it because they think it's bad because you smoke it, right? Like, I know a lot of alcoholics, especially in this beat down rural town that I live in New Jersey, that a lot of people here are alcoholics, and they look down on, not that there's not people who smoke here, but a lot of people who are alcoholics in this area spend their time at the bar every day. They look down on marijuana. They have this like self-righteous attitude when it comes to it because they don't smoke it or whatever, or they don't do it anymore at least. So big pharma would be put out of business if they really let all the information get out about how marijuana is actually beneficial. And that's a big reason too why they don't want marijuana out there and people completely knowing its benefits, because I'm sure that if we didn't have big pharma, there would be a lot healthier people out here. It's really interesting how people still trust the medical industry, even though what happened 6 years ago, we see how corrupt it is. It's always been corrupt. I mean, if you just look into how the Rockefellers and Rothschild and the same people who, monopolized money basically, and monopolized media and oil, and funded wars and funded opposing sides when it comes to political issues. If people just look into that, how those are all factual, that's all factual information, there's no way they would trust this medical industry. But the same issues, like I always speak about, is people just don't want to wake up. It seems they don't know what to do without the government. They don't know what to do if they have no rulers, no leaders. This is how deep the psychological conditioning has gone in us humans these days. So, yeah, you guys can read through the tweets here. I just kind of wanted to show you. You could do this yourself if you have X, and of course, type in marijuana. Some of them are a little bit older. Now, this guy has popped up, or used to pop up on my feed a lot at least, Dr. Simon Guttick. Again, if you're in this whatever so-called truth realm, alt media, whatever you want to call it, you probably have heard of him. I saw over time, though, that he's not fully awake, but not that he doesn't have some things, right? So he's talking about, marijuana possession and, 40,000 people, over 40,000 people still being incarcerated over it. Now, over 10 years ago, actually, almost 10 years ago, actually, because it's 2026, almost 10 years ago, I was arrested for possession of marijuana when it was still legal here in Jersey, and that has affected me from getting jobs, believe it or not, even though it's been legal here in Jersey for some time now. And there's people locked up over it. Now, I don't know if it's for how much possession they had. I mean, I had extremely small amount. I mean, it was probably like worth $5 or $10 the amount of marijuana I had on me, but I still got arrested. But nonetheless, maybe some people get caught with an ounce or whatever it might be. But the point is that I don't believe anyone should get arrested, even if it's cocaine or whatever drug. If someone wants to put drugs in their body, drugs or smoke marijuana, they should have every right to do so, and they shouldn't be jailed for it. Now, if they act crazy on these substances, or even if they drink too much alcohol and they go right and get in a car and kill someone, or they get in a fight and take a knife and stab someone or hit someone over the head with a baseball bat, then they have to be held responsible, even if they were under substances, right? So that's why we have to be responsible. And that's why I don't drink, because I know that it's putting myself and other people at risk around me. So this guy also brings up a good point, because when it comes to marijuana, right, a lot of people are still locked up over it, even though plenty of states have legalized it. And I just think it's ridiculous overall to have to lock people up over a substance that they put in their body, even distributing it. If people are properly educated from the day they come in this world, and not through this government-funded education system that has completely failed all of us and has raised a bunch of stupid morons, ignorant fools who will just comply with anything the government says. If we actually educated people, then we wouldn't have the issue with drugs that we do today. I mean, the government is the whole reason why there's all these drugs on the street. You really think it's because illegal immigrants or whatever they say, these cartel members ship it in or they sneak it in? No, your government allows it because it's a big business for them. It makes billions of dollars. And it keeps you and me drugged up. It keeps us stupid. It keeps us addicted and sick, right? And a lot of us kill ourselves when it comes to drugs and alcohol, right? When it comes to the X feed, I'm not sure if people are aware of like how it works, or if they're in the know, or how deep people are into truth, because there's a lot for people to understand, to see the bigger picture of things. For some reason, I was sparked to make this video because I saw all the marijuana stuff popping up. People saying it's good, people saying it's bad. And it seems to be something that's like a hot topic right now. And again, it's because the powers that be, even though they've legalized it, of course, there's maybe tax money involved and all that stuff, which is why they legalized it. And like I said, they'll probably spray it up with chemicals that'll eventually give us cancer in the future, and then they'll say, "Oh, look, marijuana is just as harmful as smoking cigarettes. Like we gotta make it legal again." Whatever they might do. Um, but the point is that this is all popping up on X for a particular reason because even other truthers who I follow are saying, "Oh, look, there's a lot of marijuana propaganda coming up." And listen, I'm sure there's propaganda even on the positive side. Just like there's a ton of propaganda on the negative side to marijuana, there's probably some propaganda on the positive side. And of course, from my experience from it, I'm the kind of person that reacts well with marijuana, right? It doesn't affect my life negatively. I don't get lazy from it. I don't get unmotivated. If anything, I get more motivated. I think a lot. I put concepts together. I get more creative. I see things for what they are. I think a little deeper than I can when I'm completely sober and all that. Um, and the reason why people, like I said earlier, get paranoid or why they don't like it or they don't like the feeling typically is because they feel uncomfortable, and a lot of that is because it's stemming from negative thoughts, and it's stuff that they probably deep down inside know they should be doing or taking action on in their own lives, but they're just not doing that, and that kind of what's it called, sense of urgency probably rises more to the surface when they're under the influence of marijuana because they're thinking more, right? They're getting more deeper into their psychology because a lot of people never get deep, right? What is the stat? Like we use like 10% of our brains every day. Like we don't even use the vast majority of our brain power every day. And I could see why, because people just, again, when I speak about things going on in the world and the truth of the matter of what's really taking place, it's hard for people to understand because they don't know how deep these things go. Everything is very surface level for people. They don't know past the surface level of things, unfortunately. So anyway, when people smoke marijuana, whatever they're dealing with in their life, if they're not dealing with it, if it's just something mental, maybe they're thinking a certain way, they're at a bad point in their life, then yeah, I could see how they would feel uncomfortable or paranoid, quote unquote, under marijuana because some thoughts are surfacing that they're not dealing with, or they're not getting over things, they're not maybe comfortable with themselves, they're not locked into some sort of belief, or they're not on their purpose in life, they're not maybe truly happy, all these things. And I don't know. I'm not a psychologist. I don't know I'm not a mind reader either. I don't know what every single person is dealing with. Everyone's different and dealing with different shit, right? But that's why people get paranoid because whatever they're dealing with, it surfaces, and whatever they should be dealing with, excuse me, they're not, and it surfaces when they're under the influence. So I believe that's why people get paranoid. And again, right, everyone reacts to things differently. Like with me and alcohol don't mix, but there's plenty of people, right? I would say most people can drink alcohol responsibly, be okay, right? So we all react different to things. But I think there's a lot of benefit to marijuana. That's what I think overall. I don't necessarily think it's bad. I mean, smoking anything, right, isn't necessarily good for your lungs. But we'll see what happens long term with the dispensary marijuana and all that. Growing anything is always the way to go. Growing your own marijuana, growing your own tobacco, growing your own food, whatever, right? Always the way to go, of course. So, yeah, I think I'll wrap it up here. I don't really have much else to say. If you guys are on X, please follow me. Again, my social medias will be below. The other networks, subscribe to my YouTube channel here, like the video, leave a comment, and let me know what you guys think. Let me know if marijuana stuff on X is popping up all over your feed as well. If all these like debates are sparking, and again, that's kind of why I was inspired to make this, is because I kept seeing it on my feed, and then all these other truthers were saying how they were noticing it as well, like all this marijuana debate popping up. So, yeah, I just wanted to get in on it. I've been meaning to make a video on marijuana. I'll definitely make other videos touching on this topic as well, but I kind of just wanted to dedicate a video to it. So, again, let me know what you guys think. Hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Happy Valentine's Day for those of you who are celebrating, and I'll see you guys in the next one.